ultimate orb. So I make my Merc Reaver using the Merc Reaver, and the Vitality Booster turns into the Heart of Tarrasque. I've seen a lot of builds where you get multiple Hearts of Tarrasque, usually 2, instead of a Lincoln Sphere, instead of a Radiance for the last item. I find that it's nice to have those versatility items, having that Lincoln Sphere and having that Radiance at the end, rather than not having all those things and having 2 Hearts of Tarrasque. But to each his own. I've seen both players do well. And typically, I don't even get games that last that long. I won't even see my Heart of Tarrasque. Generally, they'll end with a Black King Bar and my Blink Dagger, and that's pretty much it. So the last 3 little pictures there are just things that if you happen to progress to that far, those are suggested high-end items you can get. A lot of items work good for the Sand King, but those are my little suggestions, and that's the way I typically play them, so I'm suggesting it to you because it's worked out well for me in the past. All right, we're ready to go on to the next slide here, and it's basically going to be a cost analysis of all the items, and it shows you which item you can use, or which items are used for which things like that. And basically, take a look at the bottom there. It says the total, not counting extras, and this is the total cost in gold to buy all the stuff that you saw in that earlier picture there. It says not counting extras. Basically, the extras are consumables. If you buy more Clarity Pots, or more Ancients, or more Flasks, or more Scrolls of Town Portal, this cost is actually not taking into account of that. So that's kind of a rough estimate on the low end, obviously. I never even get enough gold to spend all that stuff. Like I said, the games end pretty quick for me for that. But if you guys want to look at this more, again, you can, after the audio commentary is over, you can just watch the slideshow by itself and pause this whenever you want. You can press right-click at any time, and you go to view any slide, and you can navigate through the slideshow like that. The next screen we're going to go over is cliff striking. Now we're getting into kind of the cool little guide part of this, now that I've gone over some items and his skills. Cliff striking is something that I've just named. I actually never heard of it called cliff striking before, but it makes sense to me. And I want to show you some different examples of it. We're going to go on to example 1. I have 3 examples, or I have a few examples actually, for the cliff striking. So we'll go on to the next slide here, starting the cliff striking example number 1. Basically, what cliff striking is, you get up to the edge of a cliff, any cliff in the game, or any cliff in the map really, and you get really close to it, and then you click close to where you want to be actually at the end of it, and you can burrow strike up and down these cliffs. So this, in this example, this is on the Sentinel side in the center of the map, and this is just there's no bad guys around at the moment. I'm just kind of showing you how to do this, but that's how you would actually burrow strike that, and showing a quick little example of how that works. Sorry if you guys hear my dogs are playing in the background. They're throwing a ball around or their bone or something. It's crazy. Sorry about that little interruption there. So that's how that example is going to work. We'll go on to the next example. This is example 2A. This is a 2-part one. I'll show you how it works. This is a cool little spot that I found, and I haven't seen a lot of people in pro games or any other games really do this. And you can do this, it's in the middle of the river. And basically you climb up to, you burrow strike, or cliff climb, what am I calling it? Cliff strike up to this top cliff here, right next to where double damage or any of the runes would be. If you know that, if you have an assumption that your enemy is going to be close to that and might be going for it. So you get up there and get position, and then you can either wait for your enemy to come by that, or you can blink, or you can cliff strike down and get it yourself. But remember that when you're burrow striking, cliff striking, it'll do damage to whoever's below there and will actually stun them for a short duration. So imagine if an enemy is pretty close to getting that, and you can burrow strike right down to him, as this example 2B is going to show you. You'll be able to stun him right before he gets his double damage. Then you can pick it up and pretty much dominate him. So definitely a really cool little place to do that. And you can do that actually on both sides of the river. This is on the kind of the southeastern position of the map, but you can do this also on the northwestern position. Again, just keep your eyes open. I'm not showing you all the cliff areas you can do this, but you can. I'm showing you a few of them there. So that's the example 2A. Example 3, this is one of the other examples of cliff striking. I used this example once to run away from a hero that was chasing me after I had chased him almost all the way to his base, to the Scourge base. This is on the Scourge side of the map, and there's some cliffs that are in the shadow here, and often you'll find after chasing an opponent that you might even get ganked here by getting a lot of your enemy opponents trying to get you. So you can burrow strike up to this cliff here, which will immediately get you away from all these enemies. And unless an enemy has blink or some other type of ability to start chasing you, or maybe Pudge can hook you if he's good enough. He actually can't see you, though, once you're up here. You turn kind of invisible because you're in the shade, unless you're right there on the edge looking at him. So this is a cool little place to hide. You can go back either way, going to the left or the right. to get down. Example 4 here, this is a cool area. I've kind of tilted the camera for you. This is again sort of by the double damage area there on the northwestern part. You'll see that there's basically really high cliff that I'm up here on, and no one can see you from this. None of the enemies can see you unless they have a ward or anything placed directly on there. But this is a good little sneaking spot to get to and see your enemy if you suspect that they're in the river, or if you know they're in the river from your teammates telling you that they're in there, or if you've seen them through wards or anything like that. This is a cool little surprise spot to get them at. Level 4 blink range has, level 4 burrow strike has 700 range, so you can really stretch out this range. And even at the end of burrow strike, there's a nice little impale there, so you can get pretty close to clicking right next to them, and you'll get the stun and the damage will go off on them, so you can start getting your control and things like that going forward. So cool little ability to do burrow striking and cliff striking. You can actually also use your blink dagger and your while you chain your ultimate, and then you blink dagger in to make use of these little spots that you can hide in or get in for striking range. This is the last example I think for cliff striking we got is cliff striking is 5A. There's going to be 2 parts to this. This is a cool little spot on the Sentinel side, or Scourge really if you can get to it. There's this little hole in the river, and it's on the northwestern part of the map, kind of the not as far in the northwest corner, but you can see on the mini-map there actually through the pictures. There's this like little hole of water, and there's a cliff or a few cliffs there that you can actually just sit there and hide in. Now, once you get here, you're not going to be able to move, and unless you have Blink Dagger or Burrow Strike, you're really not going to be able to get out of this. So do it a little bit before you think your opponent's going to be catching up to you, and you can get in this position and surprise attack him when he gets close, as we're going to see here in example 5B, which I'm looking at right now. 5B is shows how far really you can get with this Burrow Strike. And that's about the range you can eyeball it. Again, something you need to practice with and play with your own little secret spots that you know about with burrow striking and see how well it works for you. So that was example 5A. This next example is the burrow strike range. I actually had mentioned that it's 700 at level 4, so that's a pretty good range, but I actually wanted to show you a little picture of how far that range actually is. So you'll see in this one where the cloud of smoke starts and where the green circle has ended up in the map, and actually where the Sand King ends up in the middle. That's about how long you're going to get out of a burrow strike. That's a pretty long burrow strike. It's, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe 5 inches or so, 5 or 6 inches on the screen if you're actually looking at it. Again, you're going to have to play with it and learn it yourself, but this is, and kind of play with and see what works for you. But this is a visual of how well it works at level 4 for you, with level 4 burrow strike. So that's burrow strike range. Now I want to go over some burrow strike techniques. And I have example 1 ready for you, as you guys know. This is one of the games I've played, and again, it's just going to be a little flip show production here against a Spirit Breaker. Generally, a Spirit Breaker would seem like a bad fight for a Sand King, because he has got stuns and a few different disables that will stop his channeling and can really hurt a Sand King. Anyone with disables is kind of a bad fight for a Sand King. So this is something you want to be able to trick your opponent. I do it typically at level 3, and this is one of the points in the game you really want to watch out for. Stay at low hit points. I'm at 135 hit points. You see my opponent there in the red is at probably like 3/4 of his life, so it looks like he has the advantage here. But also take note that my creeps, I have a creep that's kind of on his north side there, and I was able to blink strike. I actually blink striked a little bit too far back here. You want to try to blink strike directly behind him so you don't have to run back. So I'm running back, and I got a hit in. I got 2 hits in. Now my opponent has decided that he's almost dead from the damage he took from burrow strike and from my creep and from me hitting him twice. Now he's going to try to run back, which is pretty folly. I'm going to be able to get the last hit, especially now that my ally has showed up, the Enigma. I'm going to be able to get the kill on that. So that was one of the kills and a good example of using burrow strike early on. This is example 2 we're going to go over here. Example 2 is me chasing a Arachnid, one of the spider heroes. And I have my teammate, the Queen of Pain, is behind me. And there's actually going to be the Spirit Breakers, this is that same game, is going to be coming up to try to stop me trying to save the Arachnid. So what you want to note from here is that I'm going to be clicking ahead in the shadows a little bit to the right, in the direction that I think he's going to be going. I know he's going to probably want to run back towards his base, so I'm clicking in those trees in the shadow here with my burrow strike, and you'll see in the second screenshot here that he is out of range and I can't see him, but I'm still going to click in that shadow, and you'll see that in the next slide that my burrow strike does hit him, takes damage from it, and nearly dies from just that by itself. He actually does make it away from me, but my teammate in the end actually got the kill now. So, Brittle Strike example number 3. This is for some more technique. This is me using Brittle Strike to chase down an enemy Pudge here. It's kind of ironic that I'm doing it against Pudge since he's one of my favorite heroes too. But